Thanksgiving Eve, 1971. Airports buzzed with holiday travelers, but at Portland International, one man stood apart. He was quiet, unremarkable, mid-40s, dark suit, black tie, carrying a black briefcase. He bought a one-way ticket to Seattle under the name Dan Cooper. No one noticed him, just another face in the crowd. He ordered a bourbon and soda, calm and polite. The Boeing 727 was only a third full, 36 passengers, 6 crew. Outside, rain lashed the tarmac, a typical Pacific Northwest night. The plane lifted into the clouds. Nothing seemed unusual, but this man, soon to be known as D.B. Cooper, was about to make history. He wasn't loud or threatening. He waited, briefcase on his lap, for the right moment. The flight was supposed to be short, routine, but for those on board, it would become unforgettable. Cooper was about to hijack not just a plane, but the nation's imagination. He would vanish into legend, leaving only questions behind. The story began quietly. A man with a briefcase, a plan, and a secret. In less than an hour, he would become America's most mysterious outlaw. The ordinary was about to become extraordinary. No one on Flight 305 could have guessed what was coming. The legend of D.B. Cooper started with a simple act: boarding a plane on a cold November night. He was about to step into history, and the world would never forget his name. All because of a man, a briefcase, and a plan known only to him. Once airborne, Cooper made his move. He handed flight attendant Florence Schaffner a note. She ignored it, until he leaned in. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Florence read the message. Cooper claimed he had a bomb in his briefcase. He opened it just enough to show her wires and red cylinders. The threat was real. Calmly, he dictated his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, 2 main, 2 reserve. When they landed in Seattle, he wanted the money and parachutes delivered to the plane. In exchange, he'd release the passengers and 2 flight attendants. He was polite, even offering to pay for his drink. The captain relayed Cooper's demands to air traffic control. On the ground, the FBI scrambled to gather the ransom: 10,000 unmarked $20 bills, and the parachutes. The plane circled for nearly 2 hours, burning fuel, while passengers were told only of a minor delay. Tension mounted as authorities prepared for dangerous exchange. Cooper remained calm, in total control. The passengers had no idea their flight was now the stage for a daring crime. The world outside waited, breath held. The hijacking was underway. Night fell as Flight 305 landed in Seattle, taxiing to a remote, floodlit corner of the airport. Cooper ordered the window shades closed, keeping the cabin hidden from view. The FBI delivered the ransom and parachutes via the plane's aft stairs. True to his word, Cooper released all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants. Most were stunned to learn they'd been hostages. With the passengers gone, only Cooper and a skeleton crew remained. The plane was refueled per Cooper's instructions. He now had his money, his parachutes, and a clear path to escape. The first phase of his plan was complete. But the most dangerous part was about to begin. Cooper prepared for the next leg, a flight into the unknown. The world watched, waiting for his next move. With the ransom secured, Cooper outlined his escape. He ordered the pilots to fly to Mexico City. Low altitude, slow speed, landing gear down, flaps at 15 degrees, and the cabin unpressurized. The crew realized he planned to jump. Cooper agreed to a refueling stop in Reno, Nevada. At 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off again. Rain lashing the windows, heading south. Flight attendant Tina Mucklow was told to stay in the cockpit. Cooper was alone in the cabin, money and parachutes at his side. He turned the jet into his own escape vehicle. Tina glimpsed him tying something, likely the money, around his waist. She closed the cockpit door, becoming the last person to see him. The crew flew on, tense, waiting for Cooper's next move. The hijacker was about to vanish. The world held its breath. As the jet flew through stormy skies, a warning light signaled the aft stairs had been lowered. The pilots radioed Cooper. His reply, "No!" The last word anyone heard from him. Minutes later, a shift in air pressure. He was gone. Somewhere over the forests of Washington, D.B. Cooper jumped into the night. He leapt into freezing wind, darkness, and wilderness, wearing only a suit and trench coat. The crew marked their position near Mount St. Helens. The plane continued to Reno, where FBI agents swarmed the empty cabin. Cooper's black tie and 2 parachutes remained. He, and the money, were gone. D.B. Cooper had pulled off the only unsolved air piracy in U.S. history. He left behind a few clues and a legend. The search for the man was over. The search for answers had just begun. Could anyone have survived such a jump? The world was left to wonder. Cooper had vanished into myth. The mystery had only deepened. The legend was born. The FBI launched a massive manhunt, codenamed Norjack. Soldiers, agents, and police scoured the forests and rivers of Washington. Helicopters searched from above, but the terrain was unforgiving. Weeks passed, no trace of Cooper, his parachute, or the money. The investigation widened. Hundreds of suspects were questioned. The media mistakenly dubbed him D.B. Cooper. The name stuck. Years passed with no answers. Then, in 1980, a boy digging on the Columbia River found 3 bundles of decaying cash. The serial numbers matched the ransom. The money was found miles from the presumed drop zone. How did it get there? No one knows. Only a fraction of the ransom was ever recovered. The rest, and Cooper, remain missing. The case was as cold as the night he vanished. For decades, theories have swirled. Did Cooper die in the jump, or did he escape? The FBI believes he likely perished, ill-equipped, jumping into a storm, over wild terrain. The cash found on the riverbank supports this, but the public prefers the legend. Cooper is a master skydiver, a criminal genius, who vanished without a trace. Dozens of suspects have been named, but none proven. What do we know for sure? A man calling himself Dan Cooper hijacked a plane, demanded ransom, and jumped into history. We don't know his real name, his fate, or if he had help. The evidence is scant. A tie, 2 parachutes, a few bundles of cash. The mystery endures because it's unsolved. In 2016, the FBI closed the case, admitting defeat. D.B. Cooper remains a ghost in the American imagination. He is the outlaw who got away. His story is retold, embellished, and mythologized. He is a symbol of mystery, daring, and the unknown. The legend lives on, unsolved and irresistible. D.B. Cooper jumped into the night and into history. We may never know the truth, but the myth will never die.